The following video contains graphic depictions of shooting and violence which some viewers may find disturbing. This video is intended for education purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Millions of people play these video games, but why are you not worried about it?
Well, I mean, I'm not supremely worried about it just because the consumption of these violent video games has been going up continuously since the early 90s, and yet youth violence has been going down since the early 90s. The correlation actually doesn't fit. As far as individual instances, I mean, you can find patterns in very sporadic instances among virtually all data sets, but there's some pretty mixed data about this. It's true that the American Psychological Association recommends that parents not allow their kids to play these games.
We need to stop blaming violent video games for mass shootings. Video games are played all over the world, but mass shootings are a uniquely American problem. So why have video games been getting the blame for the last 20 years? President Trump even held a meeting about the issue with top industry executives. This is how he opened that meeting.
Bowman!
That's pretty gross, right? But as unsettling as those images may be, there's been no clear link between violent video games and mass shootings.
When we look at games like Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty, the two games that tend to be kind of lightning rods that are often blamed for school shootings, we find that when those games first come out, there's actually sudden dips in homicides in the United States.
People who want to blame violent video games for IRL violence point to a literature that they believe supplies evidence for a link. But almost none of it does. Much of it shows an association or a link between violent video games and aggressive thoughts or violent imagining in the short term.
Wait. All right, so we asked people, do video games make people violent? These were their answers.
No.
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 So why is this relevant anyway? It's relevant because there's a wide misconception that video games make more aggressive people. To understand video game industry and how big it grew so fast, we must first look at the history. Video games were invented in the 1950s as a sort of entertainment and grew from very simplistic games such as Tetris and Pac-Man and slowly developed into these realistic-looking video games. Titles such as Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto were free-roam video games which had objections like kill the opposition or to indulge in illegal activities. Earlier on, younger audiences had access to these video games, which concerned parents that their child's morals and behaviors might change. A law was passed to regulate who could purchase these video games, and only responsible adults have access to these games. Rather than affecting morals, playing video games actually shows many great benefits. A study done by Wolf, Rager, and their colleagues showed that video games are a great stress reliever and help recover from mental strain. Their research also showed that many people felt more satisfied while playing video games. A study done by Nordway and Locken shows that video games have many great benefits like helping people become more productive by giving the user a sense of accomplishment when a task is complete, in which in turn will help them give momentum to complete their daily task. Many people would say video games are just a sort of violent entertainment, but they can be used as way more than that, like great learning tools to help people grow and sharpen their skills. Another study presented by Alexander and Sampson and their colleagues showed that video games can help people with their perception skills, their visual motor skills, as well as many more important skills. Rather than trying to get rid of these video games, we should accept them and adapt them into our culture and help them with a student's learning experience. Studies have shown that letting children play video games helps them become more adaptive to their surroundings, as well as help grow their critical thinking skills. Video games are great for people of all ages and help people sharpen their skills in a fun and entertaining way. In total, video games are a great part of the culture and we need to adapt them as this great resource. Video games don't make people more aggressive, but rather are a great tool to help relieve stress and become a more productive person. Video games have many great benefits and have shown to help a person's life with stress, procrastination, and is a great way to grow your critical thinking skills. The misconception of video games make people violent comes from the root of these video games looking very real and very gruesome, although there has been no connection between real life violence and violence that goes on in video games. I believe that video games help bring people of all different backgrounds together and help them with accomplishing the same goal. From older generations to younger generations, I feel as though everyone can benefit from video games, from making new friends and being part of a community, as well as relieving stress and helping with procrastination.